I keep getting inquiries about this viral video that was created by Janet Hubert a couple of days ago, who many of you might remember was the original mother on the show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Some of you brothers I've addressed on Facebook, but I have some who want me to make a video on this, so here goes. Now, I have plenty of issues with Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. For one, the open support that they have for their son in pushing the homosexual agenda by allowing him to represent the Louis Vuitton's women's clothing line. The fact that Will Smith himself has played homosexuals as well as other stereotypical roles which depict black men as a bunch of banana-stroking boppy boys. The film 6 Degrees of Separation is one of the films in question. But I'm actually going to give the advantage to the Smith family when it comes to this situation alone. Here's why. I warned you brothers, and you sisters that can actually deal with the criticisms that I've made about black women as a collective of these sort of women. The concept and theory, which I created long ago, the black woman is the surrogate mother of white supremacy, comes to you in high definition, or what us folks from the old school used to call full effect, when you see Janet Hubert's video. There are many black folks who fell for her rant simply because she did a whole bunch of head wobbling, finger waving, and cussing, and she compared the once that Jada Pinkett Smith spoke of as superficial.
Girlfriend, there's a lot of shit going on in the world that you all don't seem to recognize. People are dying, boys are being shot left and right, people are hungry, people are starving, people are trying to pay bills, and you talk about some motherfucking actors in Oscars, and it just ain't that deep.
But Jada Pinkett Smith is not a grand imperial empress who presides over a country state or the CEO of some industrial manufacturing giant. Nor is she the dean or chancellor of a prestigious university. She was speaking of a field which she and her husband have expertise in. She isn't meeting with world leaders at the UN figuring out how they're going to lift sanctions or push embargoes on other nations. She and her husband are in the field of entertainment, and they were pushing for black people to stop waiting for Hollywood to accept and reward us for our accomplishments, which is correct. She simply stated that it was time to get independent. And yeah, it's long overdue. There's no reason for us to keep oiling a machine that's just not working for us. Jada Pinkett Smith's timing may have been off, and this statement comes on the heels of her husband not being nominated for an Academy Award, but most people don't espouse social economic ideology until they are heavily affected themselves. That's just human nature. Now, when Janet Hubert, who is over 60 years old by the way, brought up the past and reminded us all about the fact that she asked Will Smith to haggle with NBC network executives in the early 1990s, the same way the cast of Friends did, and Will Smith told her, "My deal is my deal and y'all's deal is y'all deal," she made Will Smith sound like some teeth-grinning house nigga that wasn't concerned with the rest of the group. Whether or not that is true, I don't know, but I do know this. I told you all in my video, The Ice in Mr. Charlie's Tea, as well as the precursor to that video, which was called No One is Obligated to Do Anything For Us, that these civil rights-minded Negroes who came at the tail end of the baby boomer generation were a huge detriment to us. Many of them who did capitalize on affirmative action made a staunch effort to marginalize other black people using that talented 10th format.
After weeks of physical and psychological testing, you 10 men have survived the more than 40 already sworn in, who in turn were selected from a careful screening and security check of hundreds. You men, therefore, represent the best of your race. The survivors of our regular training course to begin tomorrow will be the first of your race to join the finest intelligence and espionage fraternity in the history of mankind. I must emphasize, however, that you are by no means agents as yet. Now, the selecting out process continues right up until graduation day. So, keep on your toes, keep your noses clean, and I hope to congratulate you on joining the team at the end of the training course. Thank you.
Well, ain't the guru to be a spy.
Right on. Really? Hey, we the first spooks to be spooks for the CIA.
We got it made now.
Yeah, but don't forget what Carstairs said. Dig, they can still flunk us out.
Yeah, I don't think Carstairs would be uptight if we all flunked out. And you know that PT instructor Calhoun hates us.
Hey, man, it doesn't matter how they feel. You know, the word is integration from the top. Now, some of us have got to make it, and we're it. You just have to understand the theory of tokenism. Look, they grade on a curve. None of us get too eager. Gentlemen see for everybody, right?
Yeah. Right.
Make no bones about it, Janet Hubert is one of those Negroes, and she even made references to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the video. And what I want you all to hark on is the fact that Negroes of their ilk usually begin their rants by bringing up the name of some civil rights icon. When Janet Hubert asked Will Smith to beg NBC for some more crumbs, she wasn't trying to get free herself. She just wanted more money. She wanted Mr. Charlie to sweep some crumbs off his table. Did she meet Smith and tell him, hey, there are some brothers and sisters that own their own independent network and their own studio who will give us exclusive rights to a new show or a movie of our own, and we will be given administrative rights and creative control when it comes to directing and the script process.
Oh man, you brothers are gonna be large. For the simple fact that you're with me. And I got the winning team, and I am large. I'm larger than large. In fact, I'm so big they call me Dinosaur. Yeah.
Hell no. She did what most of these liberal house Negroes do by trying to get Will Smith to go in master study all alone and ask him if they could keep the silver dollars the guests give them when they come to the promenade. And you black folks fell for it, like you always fall for some sister that shows up with a natural dew on her head, assuming that she must be down for the cause. There's a brother who I personally know that I had to warn and wake up who fell for this. He and I were out in Baltimore at a gas station a little over a year ago, and there was this sister with a natural. So he kept nudging me, telling me I should compliment the sister on her hair, and I told him no. So he ran over to her and did it himself. And this sister, although beautiful, was very trashy and rude to the brother. She even began spewing off at the mouth about how white boys were applauding her hair and they were more genuine when they marveled sisters on their looks instead of being humble and accepting my friend's kind words, which is exactly why I don't give any of these women compliments unless they earn it.
You remind me of someone.
Oh, really?
Who? A queen.
Look, baby, all you got to do is give me my bread. You don't have to talk no trash.
And that has nothing to do with my preference, which some of you who know me personally already know is black women, even though I critique the hell out of them. That has to do with the fact that I had two older sisters growing up, and I used to see how them and their friends would straight up snooker dudes. But getting back on what I was just saying, look, don't fall for these nasty attitude-having sisters just because they have a natural do. All the sisters who rock their own hair are not down for the cause. Look at Alice Walker, Njoki Shange, or Full Color Girl, or Terry McMillan. They don't respect black men. Hell, the only time I ever saw Whoopi Goldberg wear a wig or a perm was in Sister Act, Ghost, or that movie about Medgar Evers. And you know how she gets down. So stop sweating every sister that has a natural. Find out what they are about first. And when it comes to this tactic that Janet Hubert pulled on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, as I told you all before, this woman is 60 years old now. So that means that when she ran this by Will Smith, she was approaching 40 years of age. Middle-aged actress, a bit long in the tooth, working on a silly sitcom where she is playing someone's mother. Not a love interest, but the mother. Hubert was at the crossroads of her career, and she knew that she was starting a family. Instead of flexing her muscles on her own and asking them execs to give her a raise herself, she tried to get Will Smith to do it.
And I seem to recall, 20, maybe 6, 7 years ago, 25, whatever it was. Look, I don't even remember, but I seem to remember at auction time coming to you and saying, you know what, Will? You're the star of the show. Why don't we all get together? And with you, maybe we could get a little raise.
Come in.
Hey, Freedom.
Hey. Come on in.
Listen, we're going into Washington. You want to come along with us?
No, got some studying to do.
They've been letting us in town for a month now, man, and you ain't been out of here yet. You're going nuts in here.
Well, maybe next time.
Maybe you ought to cool it.
Cool it.
Cool it. If you weren't so eager to please the white man and send the grading curve up, there'd be 3 times as many of us here now. What kind of Tom are you, anyway?
Same as you, I guess. Except that I don't try to have it both ways.
What have I been telling you brothers about these feminists that talk all this shit about equality and what is fair and what isn't fair, yet they still want you to be just as chivalrous? They want you to be the sacrificial lamb instead of using the same equality initiatives that they fought for all through the 1970s, like Title IX and a number of others. Hubert even brings up how it's not fair that Will Smith has his own company and only hires his own family members and friends.
You have a huge production company that you only produce your friends, your family, and yourself. So you are a part of Hollywood. You are a part of the system that is unfair.
Duh, you dummy. That is exactly what the fuck he and his wife are supposed to do. Eddie Murphy did the exact same thing, which is why all his brothers and people like Chris Rock got their start. Keenan Ivory Wayans did the same, as well with all his family members. Hell, a lot of white folks do the same as well, but no one says a word about it. They make sure that their family and friends have positions because they trust them before they will trust anyone else. But notice how your black, mammy, liberal woman always cries about nepotism when a black man does this. She even calls Will Smith the worst thing that you can call a black man. And in my opinion, what she called him is worse than being called a nigger. She called Will Smith a baby.
That is not the way life works, baby. That is not the way life works, baby. That is not the way life works, baby.
A man that starts his own company is far from a baby. And black man, you need to realize that, okay? Because it's no different than some bigoted white man calling you a boy. And this is your black liberal in a nutshell, but especially your modern black woman. I've been telling y'all for many years that this is the surrogate mother of white supremacy.
For you to ask other actors and other blackstresses and black actors to jeopardize their career, and they're standing in a town that you know damn well. You don't do that. They're standing in a town that you know damn well. You don't do that.
Oh, you just stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Master Hammond don't stand for no slave fighting.
They talk all that shit about how they aren't being treated fair, and they're quick to call out the butlers and other servants in the master's house when they're unhappy. But yet Mammy always plays herself by pulling a titty out and pressing it right to these white folks' mouths whenever she feels the need to give the black man a piece of her mind. She keeps milking and nourishing the same system that she claims hasn't been fair. You want to know why Janet Hubert's career flopped? It did so because of her fat mouth. Once she was taken off the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, she went off talking all that shit in magazines like Ebony and Jet after she was replaced and she was at home after giving birth to her baby, and all these other networks and even black shows with black producers would not touch her because they saw this woman as too much of a headache. And here it is, damn near a quarter of a century later, and she still hasn't changed. And you liberal Negroes haven't changed either, because you were right there to back her up, because you can't help but to gather around your mammy. Because you can't help but to gather around your mammy. Because you can't help but to gather around your mammy.